Hi guys, welcome to this practice, which is going to be quite a gentle sequence, which is really for when we need to just honour the fact that we have very low energy, but we still want to move the body a little bit. So it's going to be pretty close to the ground in the sense of either being on our back or being seated for the most of the time. So what you're going to need, or what I recommend that you have, is a blanket. You can use a cushion instead, but I think a blanket is going to be helpful because I want us to cushion the knees at some points. I'm also using a yoga brick, but that's non-essential, and an eye pillow, which again is just if you have it at home. Okay? So we're going to start lying down on our back. So you're going to use your blanket as a support for the head and neck. So just bring yourself down. Try and make sure that the blanket really supports the curve of the neck. So you're not feeling it too far down, but it's just where the neck will naturally lift away from the floor. Now I'm going to keep my knees bent, feet on the ground. You can stretch the legs out if you want to. But what I quite like is to take the feet wide, angle the toes in, and bring the knees together. Okay, so it's just a bit more restful on the legs. The eye pillow I'm going to pop across the forehead. You can place it across the eyes as well if you want to block out the light. It's just quite a nice way to ground the mental energy. And then just adjust the shoulder blades down the back a little bit and smooth the back of the pelvis toward the front. And once you're settled, the hands can either rest on the front of the body or lay out along the sides. And go ahead and close the eyes. Now begin to scan the body for any places where you might be holding on to tension. Perhaps where you feel that the body is somewhat braced against the floor or against gravity. And see if you can invite a softening and a releasing downward into the support of the floor beneath your body. And start to invite the expression on the face to become very relaxed. So just taking time to move from the forehead, releasing the skin of the forehead and between the eyebrows, and softening the eyes and the temples, and releasing the cheeks, the cheekbones, the jaw, the tongue and the throat. And just start to move your attention toward the breath. Without changing anything to start with, we're just going to watch the natural movement of the breath, moving in and out of the body. And as you follow the breath with your awareness, just start to feel where the breath goes as it enters your body. You feel the breath expanding the lungs, filling the interior space. Just see where you feel the breath creating that expansion on the inhale. And then on the exhale, as the breath releases, where do you feel that the body retracts or softly draws in towards center? So where do you feel the breath predominantly going? It might be more in the chest. Might be further down toward the belly. It might be in the back. Just see what comes up for you. And then just for a few cycles of breath, start to invite the inhalation to flow down more deeply into the lowest part of your torso, and feel the torso expand outward in all directions, so front ways, sideways and back. And then as you exhale, slowly release all of the air. Feel the body gently returning back in and down into gravity. And just do that 3 or 4 more times at your own pace. Inhale flows deeply down. The body softly expands outward. Exhaling, the breath releases slowly. And we feel that soft deflation almost. And the body moves more deeply into the floor. And then just allow the breath to move back to a natural pace. And begin to open the eyes. Move the eye pillow off to the side if you have it. If the legs are out straight, bend the knees and ground your feet. Let's take the feet a little bit wider than the pelvis. The arms can stay as they are, or perhaps you can cactus the arms out to the sides to help open the chest. You might want to adjust the shoulder blades down there. And then take a few windshield wiper movements. So the knees are going to lower to one side, lightly flexing the feet so you're working the edges of the feet. And then come back through the middle and go the other way. Just try and make this nice and smooth. It doesn't need to be a mechanical movement. It's quite fluid from one side to the other. And the back of the pelvis just gets a nice massage as you transition from right to left, left to right. So just close the eyes perhaps and try to stay just with the felt sensation of the movement. Now the next time we come onto the left hand side and the knees lower down to the left, we're going to pause. And we're going to take the left foot on top of the right outer thigh. Flex the left foot so you're using the little toe edge to kind of hook the thigh down. If you have any pain in the right knee at all, more firmly flex the right foot
or come out and just hold as you were. Okay? And from there you're going to slowly come back through the centre. Go the other way, knees down to the right side. And then take the right foot on top of the outer left thigh and just help to pin down. So you get a nice sense of length in the whole outer left side of the body. So from the left knee, along the outer thigh, hip, side, waist. And then come back through the centre. Okay. Good. Bring the feet back to about hip width apart. And then draw the right knee up in toward your chest. Interlace the fingers around the knee. Or you can hold the back of the thigh if that's more helpful. And then go ahead and stretch the left leg along the floor as you draw the right knee in. And just start to circle through that right ankle. And as you do, spread and curl the toes. Just feel any kind of sensation or popping and cracking coming out of the joints. Change direction. Good. Okay, we're going to come into a twist. This is where you may want to use your brick. So I'm just going to pop my brick over to the left hand side. The left hand is going to find the right knee. Right arm is relaxed. And I'm going to try and draw that knee across my body into a twist. Now, I'm hooking the right big toe behind my left knee crease. And I'm just going to use that brick potentially as a bit of a support for the knee. Okay? We're not staying here for too long, so don't worry if you don't have the support. And then stretch the right arm out, or keep it in a cactus shape, but try and ground the back of the shoulder. And take 2 or 3 deep breaths, keeping the face soft, jaw soft, tongue relaxed. And then you can slowly come back up. Very good. Bend the knees, ground the feet. Finally, take the right ankle across the left thigh and then draw that left thigh in towards you. Now, you don't have to draw the thigh in. If you'd rather just stay with the figure of 4 shape and use your right hand to gently press the knee open, you're just going to stay with this. If you like to interlace the hands behind the left thigh or in front of the shin, and just take a couple of breaths, in-thread the needle. If you wanted to, you could circle the left ankle here. Keep the right foot actively flexed to help protect the knee joint. And change circles or change directions in the left ankle. And then release. Okay. Very good. So I'm going to move that brick to the other side. Hug the left knee into the chest, stretch the right leg along the floor, ground the back of the thigh if you can, circle through that left ankle again. Change directions, try and move through the toes as well, curling and spreading. And then work the twist, so the right hand is going to find the left knee. Left arm can release out to the side. As I take the knee across the body, I'm hooking the big toe just behind the leg or the knee crease. I'm going to use that brick underneath for some support. Just take a couple of deeper breaths. The head stays relatively neutral. And the face is soft. And then slowly come back through the middle Bend both knees. Take the left ankle across the right thigh. Either stay there, use the left hand to gently press open. Left foot is flexed, or hug the right thigh in for thread the needle. Ground the backs of the shoulders. Press the left knee gently away. Circle the right ankle if you wish. Make sure that you change directions. Good. And then you can slowly release both feet down. Okay, now from here, let's roll onto our side. Just press our way up to a seated position. So I'm going to unfold my blanket a little bit so that I've got something to sit on to cushion the sit bones and raise the pelvis slightly. So sit however is comfortable. You can cross the shins or you can just place one foot in front of the other. And then what we're going to do is just take our left hand out to the left side, plant the palm flat, and then raise the right arm toward the ceiling, okay? Now reach the right fingertips up toward the ceiling and feel as if you're able to lift the right rib cage upward. Now as you do that, root the right sitting bone more deeply into the floor. So I'm going to inhale here. As I exhale, just a slight side bend. So you might bend the left elbow somewhat and reach. Now roll the right arm kind of as if you're turning the right palm to face back, and soften the right inner shoulder crease away from the neck. Take another full breath into that right side and then slowly come back up. Good. Change sides. The right hand reaches out to the right, not too far. We're going to do a second round and deepen it a little bit. Stretch the left arm at first up toward the ceiling. And again, imagine you're trying to lift the lift the left rib cage upward, but ground the left sitting bones. And then on an exhale, bend the right elbow and start to come into the side bend. And then take a couple of deeper breaths into the left side. So we're just trying to open the side ribs to allow for a nice full breath, which is going to be gently energizing for us. And then slowly come back up. Change the cross of the legs, bring the other shin or the other foot forward. And then step that left hand a bit further out. Take the right arm and again reach it upward initially toward the ceiling. Inhale. Exhale, bend the left elbow, come a little bit further across, keep going. Take another couple of breaths. Ground the right sitting bone deeply. Breathe into the right side ribs, last one. And then slowly come back up. Very good. Take the right hand again a little bit further out, so pull the fingertips out, plant the palm. Raise the left arm, reach up, inhale, lift the side ribs. And then exhale, bend the right elbow, come across. Breathe deeply into the side body. And then slowly come all the way back up. Nice work, guys. Roll the shoulders out here if you want to. Maybe just a couple of big articulate circles up, back and down. And then we're going to take the legs out wide into a straddle. Okay? So from here, I'm still on the blanket. I'm going to place my fingertips just lightly in front. My feet are lightly active, so I'm spreading the toes a little bit and I'm on the centre of the heels. Now we're just going to start to circle the torso. So you're going to perhaps start bringing the torso over to the right side and then going forward and around. Now as you go back, just move to the very back of the sit bones. You don't have to go too far back, but think more
more about kind of coming forward to make those big circles. So you're feeling the weight kind of transitioning from one sitting bone to the other, from the front of the sitting bones to the back as you circle. So just do this a few more times. We're going to change direction, so the next time you come forward with the torso, just start going the other way. You can close the eyes if you wish to. And then just coming back to the centre, fingertips out in front. Maybe, where's my brick? Using the brick if you have it there. It might not be high enough to support the head, but if it is, you can use it. So you're going to take a breath in to sit nice and tall, and as you breathe out, start to walk forward and fold. So you might find that you can't walk very far forward at all, and that's perfectly fine. You might find that you can walk the palms forward. You might even find that you can come down and move onto the forearms and support the forehead. If you're on the forearms, turn the palms to face upward and really soften the hands. Just feel the fingertips kind of curling in toward the palms. Try and keep the jaw nice and soft as you hold. And take 3 more deep breaths. You can start to make your way back up. Okay. And from here, we're going to move into Baddha Konasana. So I'm going to lean back into my fingertips just to help bend my knees up. Soles of the feet move together as we sit nice and tall. And then just hold the front of the ankles now really lightly without forcing. Just start to kind of flap the knees like a butterfly. So just encouraging a nice little bit of lymphatic drainage around the groins, around the hip creases. But I'm not trying to push my knees further down. It's just to get a little bit of movement and stimulation around the hip crease. So it's quite bouncy. It would almost just kind of keep happening by itself. Quite springy. Take another breath or two here. Shoulders nice and relaxed. Sides of the neck released. And then you can start to slow the butterfly. Come back to a static Baddha Konasana. Inhaling to lengthen upward with the spine. Exhale to hinge forward if you can, and fold. Now the heels are gently pressing inward toward each other, and as you press the heels together, the knees kind of rebound outward, away from the heels, and you might feel slight more bit of intensity. Again, keep the shoulders relaxed, shoulder blades slide down the back. Last couple of breaths. And then slowly find your way back up. Help the knees in, so use the hands and support the knees as they come in. I'm going to just turn to my side here so that you can see
a little bit more. So feet are grounded, knees bent, and I'm going to take my hands behind me. And I'm turning the hands out really slightly. Now just bending the elbows a touch, wrapping the upper arm bones outward, elbows draw in toward the midline. And then push into the hands and lift the breastbone toward the ceiling. Now if you find that as you've started to move a little bit, perhaps you found a little bit more energy, then what you can do here is take an inhale, push into the hands and the feet and lift the pelvis and come into a tabletop. Otherwise, just pause here for another breath or so, nice and wide across the collarbones. And then you can slowly release. Okay, stretch both legs forward here. Keep the legs about hip width apart. And then bend the right knee to come up in toward the chest. Okay, I'm going to keep my right foot about a fist's distance away from the inner left thigh. And I'm flexing the left foot a little. Okay, so we're going to find a twist. So the left hand is going to reach across for the right knee or shin. So this is a variation of Parighasana. You're going to lift the spine nice and tall and take the right fingertips behind you. And take a deep breath in to lengthen. And as you breathe out, just lightly rotating the rib cage to the right side. And with the right knee, it's kind of working out into the left hand. The left hand is working into the right knee, so they're kind of resisting each other. The neck is relaxed, the face is soft. And I'm just drawing that right shoulder head slightly behind me. Last breath. Good. On the exhale, slowly release. Stretch the right leg forward, bend the left knee up into the chest. Take the right hand, find the left knee. Turn the rib cage, place the left fingertips behind you. Inhale to sit nice and tall. Exhale to start that rotation. Don't worry about how far you move into the twist, but keep the breath nice and full. Keep the breath as deep as you can. Good. And then slowly release. Come back to face forward. This time stretch both legs out and lightly point the toes. Place the hands behind you the same way we did just now before the twist. Turn the hands out very slightly. Bend the elbows a touch, squeeze them in toward each other, push into the heels of the hands to feel the sternum rise and the space open up across the collarbones. Again, if you're feeling like you've found a store of energy, you can take an inhale, push into the heels of the hands and lift the pelvis with straight legs this time. Or you can pause here with a nice proud open chest and shoulders. Last one. And then release. Okay, nice work guys. Okay, let's come forward onto all fours. And just find hands and knees. So a few cycles of cat-cow. So when you're ready to, on the exhale, push into both hands, round the upper back. Chin moves toward the chest and the tailbone slightly pointing down. On the inhale, soften the belly, widen the collarbones, move the heart forward. And then exhale, round once again. Just do that a few times. Moving at the pace of your breath. Trying to make a nice bit of space both in the front body, the front ribs, and in the back body, particularly the space between the shoulder blades. The last cycle. We'll finish on a breath out where we round. And then come back to neutral. Okay? So from here, what I'm going to do is come into a revolved child's pose, which is a twist, a nice opening for the upper back. So I'm going to thread my right arm underneath my left, slide it along the floor until the side of the head comes down to rest. Okay, and then I'm going to come up onto my left fingertips. But I'm trying to keep my hips and knees relatively stacked. Now, if you feel that you can stretch that left leg out to the left and ground the foot. The toes are pointing to the front edge of your mat, or the front direction. Now we're pushing to the left fingertips and we just try to rotate the rib cage and the chest to the left, but we keep the pelvis relatively neutral. Just take another breath or so if you can. I know it can feel a little bit awkward. And then plant that left palm flat. Start to come back up onto your hands. Bring that left knee in if it was extended out, the leg. And then I'm going to take that right leg out because I did the same thing with the left, but you decide. Left arm is going to thread underneath. So as I come down, I rest on the left side of my head. I come onto the right fingertips. And then I press into the right fingertips to turn, keeping the pelvis relatively neutral. Deep breaths into the space right between the shoulder blades. Good. And then pressing back up onto all fours. And from there, we're going to sit back into a brief child's pose. So I'm going to make sure my knees and shins are nicely cushioned. And then I'm going to sit back, big toes touch. Support the head if you want to. And place the arms along the sides. Just take a moment feeling the breath moving into the back body. So as you inhale, feel the back ribs expanding, the side ribs, the lower back. And as you exhale, invite a softening and a moving toward gravity. And then slowly bring yourself back up. Now you guys can stay facing the front on your blanket. I'm going to turn to the side so that you can see me a bit more. So we're kneeling on our blanket. We're going to take our left leg out to the left side. Right hip and knee are in line. Left toes point in the same direction we're facing. Now just let the left hand rest on the outer leg and raise the right arm. And again, as you breathe in, try and lift the right side rib cage. And then as you breathe out, slide the left hand down the outer leg and come into Parighasana, gate pose. And breathe into the left side of the body. Sorry, this will be your right side. So breathe into the right side ribs and waist. And then slowly come all the way back up. Now bring that left knee back in. Place the hands down and either take a traditional downward facing dog or take a puppy dog stretch. So I might have to move my blanket back for this. If you're wanting to come into the puppy dog stretch, you're going to stay on your knees but walk your hands forward and just see if you can start to move the chest and the head toward the floor. Trying not to collapse the belly or the lower back too much. Otherwise, traditional down dog. And then slowly lowering the knees if you're in downward facing dog, or walking your way back up. So Parighasana on the second side, so kneeling on your blanket. This time we're going to stretch the right leg out to the right side. Left hip and knee are in line. Right hand resting on the outer leg, left arm reaches. Inhale, lift the side ribs. Exhale, slide the right hand down the leg. And then take that side reach. But keep lifting up and out of the waist. Breathe deeply. If it feels too taut in the side of the body, then back off a little bit. And then slowly come back up. Release the top arm. Bring the right knee in, and then one final either downward facing dog or puppy dog stretch. Okay, so let's lower the knees down if we're in down dog, or come back to all fours if we're in puppy dog stretch. And then what we're going to do is find single pigeon pose. So I'm going to shift my right shin forward, lay the right knee down behind the wrist, and then I'm going to walk my left knee back. Now I want my blanket, so I'm using that kind of underneath the right sitting bone. It'll be partly supporting the left top thigh as well. Back toes tucked to start with, because I want to really roll the back thigh in. Okay, build up support if you need to, guys. Build up support under the right sit bone. So that might be a cushion or something. And then see if you might work onto your forearms. If you have something to rest the head on, that's a really nice supportive variation that you can use. And in fact, it's quite therapeutic for the nervous system just to have that pressure between the eyebrows and on top of the space across the forehead, which gets quite tight. So you might just, if you do have that head support, you can kind of roll from one side to the other and just massage that space, both between the eyebrows and across the top of the eyebrows. Keep the jaw soft, tongue relaxed. And then you can work your way back up onto your hands. So let's press back to all fours if we can. If you want to stretch back into down dog, by all means do. And then bring your left shin forward, walk the right knee back. And come onto your forearms. The back thigh is rolling in, so you might just create a little bit of adjustment in the back leg. Tuck or untuck the back toes, it's really up to you. And then just allow the eyes to close if you can. And start to become a little bit more inwardly focused. Coming back to the pattern of the breath. And
And then from there you can start to work your way back up. Press back to all fours again. If you want to work into one last downward facing dog, you can. But what we're going to do is just set ourselves up for one final relaxation. So I would support you putting any extra layers on, making yourself as extra comfortable as you can. Just be really nurturing towards yourself. So if you want an extra blanket or to put a jumper on, some fluffy socks, it's always a good idea. And then just come to lie down. Any final movements that would feel particularly good for your body right now, feel free to do. Again, if you have the eye pillow, then you can just pop that on. And then we'll just use these final few moments to really give ourselves permission to rest. I think sometimes when we do encounter those days where we don't have much energy and we try and force ourselves to be productive, it can just be quite counterintuitive and counterproductive in the end. Sometimes you just need to kind of ride the wave. And so take up a nice bit of space, close the eyes. Invite the body to rest into gravity, to rest into that support of the ground, carrying your body. Let's start to deepen our breathing.
And invite some movement into the body. And perhaps take a full body stretch. Maybe yawning a little. And then drawing the knees up into the chest. Moving the eye pillow if you have it there. Take a little rock side to side if that feels helpful. Or perhaps circles on the lower back. And slowly make your way up to a comfortable seat. Bring the palms to touch in the centre of the chest. Close the eyes. And bow the head forward in a gesture of honouring the practice, honouring ourselves, honouring whatever experience might have come up. Just trying not to resist anything, just allowing everything to be as it is. And slowly lifting the gaze, opening the eyes. Namaste.